Guys, this is your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video, and I'm here to tell you JJ Redick is in that press conference shaking in his boots, bro, because the Los Angeles Lakers lifted like a deer in headlights, man. They kept up with them till the third quarter, boy, but that fourth quarter came, they put gas, no brakes on the Lakers, dog. And I'm telling you right now, Austin Reese is the topic of discussion. I don't know where the hell he went, but he was nowhere to be found. I can tell you that. Look at this right here. So Yahoo Sports just put this up, right? So this was Austin Reese today, right?
The camera caught the exact second Angel Reese's face dropped, and the composure vanished. Caitlin Clark didn't just win the game, she dismantled Reese's entire reputation with a single brutal sentence during the post-game presser. The silence in the arena was deafening as the truth finally hit the airwaves, echoing through the locker rooms. This wasn't just about a loss on the scoreboard, it was about an exposure so deep it left Reese visibly shaking and unable to find words. People thought they understood the rivalry, but nobody was prepared for the bombshell Caitlin was about to drop. The league will never be the same after this moment of pure, unadulterated chaos that changed everything.
I can tell you that. Look at this right here. So Yahoo Sports just put this up, right? So this was Austin Reese today, right? And what's crazy about all this, I like Austin Reese. It states he has the lowest field goal percentage by a Laker in the playoffs over the last 35 years. Damn. The last 35 years, bruh. Talk about embarrassing, dog. Let's pull up the stat sheet for Austin Reeves today. Austin Reeves, right, had 8 points, 5 rebounds.
It all started when the official stat sheets began circulating, revealing a reality that Reese's camp tried desperately to hide from the public. We are talking about the lowest field goal percentage seen in a high-stakes performance in over 35 years. It is an embarrassing mark that puts a permanent stain on a rising career that many thought was untouchable. When those numbers were finally read aloud in the media room, the shock was visible on every face present. To play nearly 40 minutes and produce a historical low is a statistical nightmare that no PR team can spin. This wasn't just a bad night, it was a historical collapse that left fans and analysts questioning the hype.
Up the stat sheet for Austin Reeves today. Austin Reeves, right, had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 6 damn assists, dog. What's crazy about all of this, to make even more assault to injury, he played 36 damn minutes. 36 damn long, excruciating minutes. Now, I know it's not right to point fingers, but it really wasn't nothing the Lakers could do, bruh. I ain't gonna lie to you.
The tension was thick as the coaching staff walked into the press conference, practically shaking from the weight of the defeat. They looked like deer in the headlights, unable to explain how a star player could go missing when the lights were the brightest. For 3 quarters, they kept up the facade, but when the fourth quarter pressure arrived, the wheels completely fell off. There was no gas left in the tank, and the brakes were nowhere to be found. As the lead evaporated, the narrative of being a top-tier competitor was shattered in real time. It was a performance that felt less like a professional effort and more like a total surrender under the crushing weight of expectation.
You're playing the...
I'm sorry to stop it, but Shea had 7 damn turnovers, bruh. I mean, there was no way the Lakers should have lost this one based off the third, second, and first quarter. I truly believe they just got gassed. They couldn't keep up with the younger, more fit, in-shape team. And JJ Redick used damn near all his time out. He was time out. Every time they went on the run, time out. It just went, he looked so damn defeated, bro.
The world champs, your margin for error in terms of mistakes is not that high. You can make mistakes. Basketball's a game full of mistakes. It's just too.
Caitlin Clark didn't hold back when she was asked about the turning point that left the opposition looking defeated. She pointed directly to the game plan mistakes that were happening over and over again on the floor. It wasn't just one error. It was a general theme of incompetence throughout the entire night. When you make that many mental mistakes against a world-class opponent, you get hurt, and you get hurt badly. Caitlin noted that the margin for error in these matchups is razor thin, and Reese's side simply didn't have the discipline to keep up. It was a cold, clinical breakdown of why the supposed superstar was actually the weakest link on the court.
He looks so damn defeated, bro.
The world champs, your margin for error in terms of mistakes is not that high. You can make mistakes. Basketball's a game full of mistakes. There's just too many tonight. We got to clean that up. But, there were some good things. We won expected score, held Shea under 20. He ended up with 7 turnovers. The guys played hard. We just got to do a better job with execution. It comes down to just the attention to detail on that. And I know we'll clean things up and be better.
Did you find these execution errors to be primarily offensive or primarily defensive?
Primarily.
The most painful part of the revelation was the sheer volume of turnovers and missed opportunities that piled up. 7 major blunders in a single outing is enough to sink any team, but when it comes from the person touted as the leader, it's a death sentence. There was no way to justify the loss based on the talent present on the floor. It was clear that the younger, more fit, and more disciplined squad simply ran the veterans out of the gym. The coach looked defeated, staring at the floor while admitting that the attention to detail just wasn't there. It was an admission of failure that resonated far beyond the walls of the press room that evening.
In this situation, obviously frustrated with what happened.
In that moment, just like, I don't know, can you just sort of describe the amount of pain he seemed to be in? I mean, from where we were sitting, it looked like...
Yeah, it looked. I went to go check on him because it just looked bad. I mean, he was audibly screaming, and I knew he'd done something. So we're obviously, disappointed that happened, and it's a freak injury.
JJ, could you talk about sort of like the job that the guys did on Shea, and then obviously like you said, held them under 20, and they still, outplayed you guys or outscored you guys at that.
When the defensive breakdowns were analyzed, the truth became even uglier for Reese and her supporters. Every time a specific coverage was called, the execution failed, leading to an easy bucket for the opposition. It seemed like every single mistake was capitalized on instantly, turning small errors into a massive, insurmountable gap. The offensive rebounds were even worse, as the team failed to build back out or show any urgency on the glass. It was a lack of effort that looked like a betrayal of the game itself. Watching the highlights back, it was clear that the mental fatigue had set in long before the final whistle actually blew for the night.
And LeBron James is at the podium, bro. And, yeah, I want to play Austin Reeves first. I got to listen to this. I ain't lying, bro. Because I'm an Austin Reeves fan, dog. And for him to do this, maybe he's still dealing with his injury. I don't know. But we finna listen to damn me, Austin Reeves. I want to blow this all the way up for y'all. We finna blow this all the way up. Let's listen to Austin Reeves after the game.
Okay, so you kind of pulling away lately.
Just making a couple mental mistakes. Felt like we got some good looks, we just didn't make.
The locker room was already reeling when news broke about a potential season-altering injury that occurred mid-game. One of the key players was audibly screaming in pain after a freak accident on the floor, leaving the entire bench in a state of shock. The coach described the scene as horrifying, noting that he had to go check on the player because the situation looked so dire. It was a moment of raw, human suffering that put the game into perspective, but it also highlighted the fragility of the team's current structure. Losing that level of toughness and edge on the court left a void that no one else was willing or able to fill during the crisis.
37. In so many words, he like, how the hell are we supposed to stop him? We can't stop him. What is it? He averaged 37, bruh. Why would you ask me that question? Sorry, stop it.
It's the number one defensive team in the NBA, as far as the ratings and everything. And when you play against great defense, you have to have guys that can attract multiple defenders on the floor at all times. Even I feel like we had great shots. We got some great shots tonight. We missed them. When you play against a world champion,
even when the opposition's best player was held well below their season average, Reese's team still managed to lose by a significant margin. It's a testament to the incredible depth of the competition and a harsh indictment of the lack of help Reese provided. You can do some good things on the defensive end, but if you can't generate offense, the score doesn't matter. The reality is that the team was missing shots they usually make in their sleep, going a dismal 10 for 30 from beyond the arc. When your primary playmaker goes 3 for 16, you aren't just losing the game, you are losing the respect of everyone watching. There was a specific stretch in the third quarter that served as the final nail in the coffin for the evening. An open look was generated, a shot that would have cut the lead to a single possession, but it clanked off the rim. That miss led to a 6-point swing on the other end, and the game never felt within reach again. Those are the margins that define a championship caliber player versus someone who is just taking up space on the floor. The coach admitted that the shot quality was good enough to win, but the players simply didn't deliver. It was a recurring message of frustration that he had been preaching every single day. When Reese finally took the podium, the atmosphere was incredibly hostile, and you could see the internal struggle on her face. She tried to deflect, saying the easy thing is just to make more shots, but everyone knew it went deeper than that. She talked about getting to her spots and just missing, but the turnovers told a different story, of a player who was completely overwhelmed by the pressure. Being your own biggest critic is one thing, but facing the statistical reality of a historical failure is another. She looked like someone who wanted to be anywhere else but in front of those flashing cameras and pointed questions. The question of rhythm came up, especially considering she had been out of action for a significant amount of time recently. But in the professional world, nobody cares about excuses or how long you've been on the sidelines. You have to go out and play better, regardless of the circumstances or the family and friends watching from the stands. When you don't play to the expectations you've set for yourself, the mental toll is visible to everyone. The advice was simple: watch the film and see what the game gives you. But for a player used to dominating, looking at the footage of a total collapse is a bitter pill to swallow. Veteran voices in the league started chiming in, and they weren't any kinder about the embarrassing performance they had just witnessed. They spoke about the knowledge required to win in the postseason and how that discipline was completely missing from the court. You can prepare all you want, but if the game plan breaks down the moment things get tough, the preparation is useless. Great teams test your discipline over and over again until you finally crack, and on this night, the cracks weren't just visible. They were wide enough to sink the entire franchise. It was a masterclass in how to lose a game from the inside out. The gap between what the team needed to do and what they were actually able to do was a massive chasm. It wasn't just about 1 or 2 plays. It was about a fundamental inability to stop the opposition's momentum. When a team goes on a run, you have to be able to respond with poise, but instead they responded with more mistakes. The veterans admitted that the film would show exactly how they could be better, but the damage was already done. They knew that a championship-level team makes adjustments, and they simply weren't ready for the level of competition they faced when it mattered most. The offensive issues were the most glaring part of the entire debacle, with the ball becoming sticky and the flow completely vanishing. When your stars aren't attracting multiple defenders, the entire system collapses. You have to have players who can get to the paint and force the defense to react, but instead they settled for contested jumpers and turned the ball over. The opponent was the #1 defensive team for a reason, and they proved it by shutting down every single lane. Without the ability to get to the blender and create easy looks, the offense looked like it was stuck in quicksand all night long. A shocking truth emerged during the late-night analysis regarding the Stars' presence on the floor versus their actual impact. Sometimes having a big name out there helps the team's confidence, but when that person is struggling, it can actually drag the whole unit down. They were trying to fast-track her return to the floor after the injury, hoping she would regain the form she had before the setback. But you can't rush greatness, and you certainly can't rush rhythm in the middle of a high-stakes series. Her presence alone was supposed to help, but instead it seemed to highlight just how far she had fallen from her peak. The physical toll of the game was brought up again when discussing the toughness required to compete at this level. One player was described as being tough as nails, so seeing them in that much pain meant something truly significant had happened. It sucks to see a teammate go down like that, especially when they provide the edge the team desperately needs. Without that grit, the team looked soft and easily pushed around by a hungrier opponent. It was a reminder that talent alone isn't enough. You need the mental and physical toughness to survive the grind of a long and difficult season. As the night went on, the comments from Caitlin Clark began to circulate even wider, adding fuel to the fire. She wasn't just talking about the game, she was talking about the preparation and the mindset of her rivals. She exposed a lack of focus that many had suspected, but no one had dared to say out loud until now. The shocking truth was that the gap in talent might be closing, but the gap in preparation was wider than ever. It was a wake-up call for everyone involved, proving that you can't rely on past glory to win today's battles. The league was watching, and the verdict was unanimous. Reese's reaction to these comments was reportedly explosive behind closed doors, as the frustration finally boiled over. It's one thing to lose a game, but it's another to have your character and work ethic questioned by your primary rival on a national stage. The tension between the two stars has reached a breaking point, and there is no going back to the way things were before. Every future matchup will now be viewed through the lens of this exposure and the fallout that followed. The rivalry has moved from the court to a psychological battleground, where only the strongest will survive the scrutiny. The media coverage has been relentless, picking apart every missed shot and every defensive lapse with surgical precision. They are comparing this performance to some of the worst in history, and the numbers don't lie. When you are the topic of discussion for all the wrong reasons, it's hard to keep your head up and focus on the next game. The pressure to bounce back is now immense, and anything less than a legendary performance in the next outing will be seen as a total failure. The world is waiting to see if Reese can rise from the ashes, or if this is the beginning of a long decline. Analysts are pointing to the coaching staff as well, wondering if they are capable of making the necessary adjustments to save the season. If the game plan continues to fail, the blame will eventually shift from the players to the leadership. There is a sense of urgency that wasn't there before, a feeling that time is running out to fix the glaring holes in the roster and the strategy. Every timeout and every substitution is being questioned by fans who are tired of seeing the same mistakes repeated game after game. The seat is getting hot, and the results need to change immediately to avoid a total overhaul. Looking back at the film, the most disappointing aspect was the lack of energy during the most critical moments of the game. It seemed like the team had accepted their fate long before the final buzzer, which is the ultimate sin in professional sports. You have to fight until the very end, especially when your reputation is on the line. The lack of fire in the eyes of the players was a shocking revelation for those who believed this team had championship DNA. It turns out that when things get difficult, they tend to fold rather than flourish, a trait that will haunt them for a long time. The fallout from this night will be felt for years to come, as it has permanently altered the trajectory of several careers. The truth that was exposed cannot be unlearned, and the scars from such a public embarrassment will take a long time to heal. For Caitlin Clark, it was a moment of triumph and validation of her superior approach to the game. For Angel Reese, it was a harsh lesson in the reality of high-level competition and the consequences of not being fully prepared for the moment. The narrative has shifted, and the balance of power in the league has been tilted in a brand new direction. In the end, sports are about more than just numbers on a page. They are about character, resilience, and the search for truth under pressure. This game provided all of that and more, leaving us with a story that will be told for generations. Whether Reese can recover from this exposure remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, the truth always comes out in the end. As the lights go down and the arena empties, the echoes of this night will remain, serving as a reminder of what happens when the shocking truth is finally revealed for the whole world to see.